Truth Channel. So, wanted to share this with you guys because a lot of people just don't get it when I try to explain and expose these guys and show you all these people with these big podcasts, with these big shows, with these whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on a main network on TV, social media, Twitter. Anybody that's allowed to get big, have a big channel, have a big voice, is controlled. These people understand that the people who own and control this world own and control absolutely everything, every walk of life. They own and control social media, TV, the newspapers, you name it. They own it. They're in control. Their people, who they choose, those are the ones that get to have the spotlight. They're gatekeepers. The ones that they know, those are the ones that are going to have the voice. The ones that they know aren't going to actually put the truth out there, aren't going to actually expose them. They can't take that risk. So the only people that get big, big names are people that are gatekeepers, shills. You know, all these so-called truther channels, these RV Truths, Richie from Boston. I can't even name all the big. There's so many big channels now. People all the time come and ask me, "Hey, how about this guy?" or "How about this guy?" Well, without me doing investigation into their channel and listening to them and coming to my own conclusions, you usually can look at the subscriber count and say, oh, 10,000 subscribers, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 subscribers. This person's got to be a fraud because there's no way that they would be allowed to get a voice in a channel this big without being a part of the system. And this, what I'm going to show right here, is exactly what I'm talking about.
I have friends that were there. They are a couple. He's a fraternity brother. He was in my pledge class. His wife has been a very good friend of
He
mine for
is
a
a
while.
fraternity brother and a part of my pledge class. See, this is a problem that I have, is that I try to tell everybody is these people that are successful in life, they all are a part of the brotherhoods. They are all a part of the fraternities. It's not by coincidence that he just said that this so and so, my friend who was at, they're talking about some football game, is a fraternity brother. That's why that they get all these news people on here. They get all these sports players on here. That's why they're connected with St. Jude's Hospital, and they do this podcast where they do a 24-hour podcast, and all the donations go to St. Jude. So understand, I'm going to play it one more time, that these people are Satanists.
I shared this in the Patreon Slack, which, by the way, is the best place for Lions Talk anywhere. I have friends that were there. They are a couple. He's a fraternity brother. He was in my pledge class. His wife.
He is a fraternity brother. So I'm going to make this short and sweet. Like I told you guys, these people are Satanists. Nothing new under the sun, as the Bible says. You know, these people are all these successful people in life. All these people that, you know, people are like, oh, look at this person, they've worked hard and they're successful, or they've went and done this and done this and done that, and now they're successful, so I should go do that, and then I can, you know, lay out the same career. No, you can't. If you're not connected, if you're not willing to sell out, if you're not a part of the brotherhoods and sister sororities and fraternities, part of the, you know, Jesuits and the Catholic knighthoods, you're not going to move up anywhere. You're not going to be successful. You're not going to have a successful business. You know, a lot of these people say, hey, they have these dreams. Hey, I'm going to go start a small business. I'm going to work for myself. And then little do they find out, they save up all this money, they do all this investing. They might have a great idea and a great spot, pick a great building and everything. But if you are not supported by the fraternities, by the brotherhoods, by the people that control those cities, by the people that control those states, then you will not be successful. You will not have a successful business, and your money will go down the drain. That's why there's so many, you know, bad percentages for small businesses being successful, because it's not going to happen unless you are of the brotherhoods, unless you are of the fraternity, unless you're basically a made person. And if you are a one of them gatekeeping satanic Freemasonic shills, you know, and people don't get it. People their whole life they see, you know, people they went to school with, you know, and what's the first thing that they do, you know, those same people are always a part of the same cliques when they go to college and they go everywhere, go out in life. Why? Because their families were connected. And their families were connected, and their families were connected, and it's all connected through fraternities and through these bloodlines and through the brotherhoods and sororities and sisterhoods, and they keep it in the family. They make sure that it doesn't get out there where the average person can become successful, because this is owned and controlled by the people who rule this world, and they don't want uh, 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 you know, somebody who's not connected, somebody who will actually tell the truth, somebody actually who loves Jesus Christ, somebody who actually has a good heart. they're not going to give that person a chance to expose them. So they're going to make sure that they squash that bug as fast as they can. It's kind of like that movie Ants, or maybe it's called A Bug's Life. But there's a movie, and in a lot of movies, there's a lot of similarities to life. Obviously, there's predictive programming and everything else, but there's these cockroaches that come and they make these ants. I'm sorry, they might be grasshoppers, I believe, and they make these ants gather all their food for them, harvest all their food, and the ants have to harvest all their food for the grasshoppers first, and then the grasshoppers will protect them and let them live, whatever, not bother them. But if they don't get the food, then the grasshoppers are going to come and threaten the ants. Now the ants outnumber the grasshoppers 50-1, but the ants have it in their head that they're the weaker, inferior, species, and so they give in and they let the grasshoppers rule over them, and they do what the grasshoppers say. Now, there's a scene where the grasshoppers are all at this bar, and they're all eating their coconuts or their nuts or their whatever, all their goods that the grasshopper or that the ants had bundled up for them, that they had been, because they have a big, huge stockpile. And one of them says, "Hey, we don't need to go enforce the ants, making the ants pay us, and yada yada yada. It was only one of them that stood up to you. Let's just let that one ant go." And he pulls the cork. He gives the guy one of the nuts or whatever, and he says, "It's only one nut, right? It's not overwhelming, right?" And the guy says no, and then he pulls the cork, and all the nuts come on him. And then the guy's obviously overwhelmed. He's buried in the whole pile of nuts or food. And he says, "Do you get it now? If we let one of them get away with it, then pretty soon another one will try, another one will try, another one will try." It's an analogy, basically. And pretty soon they outnumber us. And once they know that they outnumber us, then we're going to be the ones at the disadvantage. And at the end of the movie, they realize that. They all gang up on the grasshoppers. They stick up to the grasshoppers, and the grasshoppers leave them alone, and they get their independence. But until us as people, as a society, until we realize that we are the ones in control, until we realize that we are the ones that outnumber them, we're never going to be able to overcome what has been forced upon us. Because people think in this society that we chose this. People think that there's this notion that, society, that people chose the way we live in society. That's not true. It was forced upon us. Back in the early 1800s, late 1800s, they forced this change upon us, this reform. And anybody that didn't go along with it, anybody that wasn't willing to, send their kids to school and let the government take over and live by the government's way, those people were murdered, shot and killed, burned, raped. I mean, you name it. They were the most crudest, horriblest things you can name of. That's what they did to make sure that this system got implemented. So we didn't choose this. Stop believing the notion that Americans and as a society, we chose the way we live. We did not choose this. This was implanted on us. This was forced upon us. And we have to go with it until people finally see the forest for the trees, until they finally wake up and realize that we outnumber them, that, that they shouldn't be controlling us the way that they do. And they all serve Satan, guys. Satan is the god of this world, according to the Bible, until Jesus returns. So understand, for riches and fortune and fame, they're going to sell out to their god, Satan, for what they desire. And it's as simple as that. And if your ultimate goal is to be famous, you're willing to do anything. You're willing to sign your name in a blood contract with the devil. Literally, sell your soul. So with that said, I wanted to touch base on this. I know it's probably not a normal podcast or a video that I do, but I seen this podcast and I wanted to show you guys that these people are all connected. We'll play it one more time and then we'll end it there.
I shared this in the Patreon Slack, which, by the way, is the best place for Lions Talk anywhere. I have friends that were there. They are a couple. He's a fraternity brother. He was in my pledge class. His wife.
Fraternity brother. They're probably Shriners. Guaranteed they're Freemasons. But yeah. Start having red flags. Start raising your eyebrows to these fraternity people, to these Masons, to these Satanists. Understand that these people aren't to be glorified. They've done nothing great. All they've done is sell out. That's the reason why they're successful. So with that said, enjoy your week with your loved ones. God bless you all, and I appreciate you.